Okie dokie, it is episode 5, and today we're sanding, priming, painting, and we're going to be fixing the window trim and the baseboards. What I'm going to be using today is just a little hand sander from Lowe's. You can see these little knobs, they tighten down over the sandpaper. And the sandpaper that I chose to use is this 100 grit for drywall right here, also from Lowe's. Probably the cheapest one they had, but it all works fine. And you're gonna put it on there, and I'm literally gonna come over here, and you're gonna put some back into it, and you're gonna... The first thing that you wanna do is get you a flashlight, like I have here, shine it on the wall, and look for, after you skim coated everything, these are actually wood wall paneling. Check out episode 4, it's wood wall paneling, and now it's gonna look like sheetrock after I sand it today. But anyway, get you a flashlight, make sure everything's smooth. Even if you have drywall over here, we have drywall, everything's smooth. I'm gonna give that a sanding today, and then I'm happy. All the screw holes are sunk in and everything looks good. What you're gonna wanna do is you're gonna wanna take your sandpaper and thin out these edges out here, because that's where where it needs to be sanded, on the right and on the left. And then in the middle, anything that needs to be sanded there, go ahead and sand that as well until you're happy.
Down, side to side, up, down, side to side. Okay, I just finished sanding all the paneling. You can see there's going to be white dust all along the baseboards. Over here, you can see everything is smooth. It's been sanded. Okay, we're looking a lot better. This is starting to look like sheetrock now. Over here, this is the only place where I have not sanded. So I'm going to sand all these edges on every edge, all the way down and all the way up, every single edge and down the middle. Once all this is smooth, I'm going to do that corner and that corner. And also, another thing that you want to do is check these corners right here when you're sanding. If you get mud on those corners, if you're trying to preserve the paneling and the trim, you're going to want to sand everything really clean, just like I have here, all the way down. Fill in every gap and every crack, and go ahead and mud and tape that, and clean it all off and sand it. Or build a corner like I'm doing. And then also on the trim, what I'm going to do, anywhere where there's a hole like that, I'm going to fill it in with sheetrock mud. And I've already filled in the sides with sheetrock mud. And you can see this looks really good. It used to be really low, and now it's filled in, and it looks like it's been caulked, and it looks really nice. Now I'm going to sand this trim, scrape the trim, and then fill in any low spots like that right there, and this nail hole right here with sheetrock mud. And this right here, I'm going to fill it in with sheetrock mud. And you can see I've already filled in the gaps on the side all the way up to the corner and sanded it all the way down. Okay. The sanding is finished.
can see now I've buffed out all these edges by sanding it. I've hand sanded everything inch for inch. Everything looks good. I've hand sanded the trim in the corners where the paneling meets in the corners. They put a piece of wood trim over there. And I have even sanded that, and you can see this looks really nice once it's going to be primed and painted, of course. But paneling, corner, I'm sanding the window trim, all these window trims. Before I repair these windows, I've sanded the trim around the windows. I've actually patched this area already. This turned out nice right here, if you've seen episode 4. But anyway, you can see there's dark spots and light spots. The dark spots are where the mud filled in, and the light spots are where it was already smooth. Okay? And these walls are all ready. Everything is already ready to prime and paint other than the windows. I'm gonna go ahead and get everything ready, including the trim, before I paint anything. And you'll see why. We will keep moving forwards after I do this corner and this corner. I've already got tape right here and tape right there and mud right here. So I'm gonna get to doing this corner, and I will link a video right up here on how to do a corner. And I will see you right back. What I'm gonna be doing now is the next day. This has been sanded, everything looks good. I've shined my flashlight, I'm happy. I'm mostly happy. I'm gonna go ahead and prime it and see if that continues, if I'm still happy after priming. If not, I can touch up later, but I'm gonna go ahead and get the primer on. Before I do that, I'm gonna use this broom to sweep these walls just like this. And that's to get all that dust off the wall so that whenever I put the primer on, it sticks better. Ay. Anyway, there is what I'm doing. I've got it all swept. I've let the dust settle for about 10 minutes now, so I can actually breathe in here. Here's the Valspar primer that I'm gonna be using from Lowe's. It is from Lowe's, about 10 bucks. 10 bucks a gallon. And I'm gonna use a little mud pan with some little trays that go inside there to keep that clean, also from Lowe's. And I'm gonna dump it right in there. Stir it up first, dump it in, and then I'm gonna get to rolling. And I'm gonna be using this rig. It's nice to have a helper. It's just a hand roller and an extension stick so that I can get up 10 feet and 8 feet without having to go up and down a ladder. I still forgot that corner apparently yesterday, but we'll get this sorted out. Okie dokie, artichoke. The paint is right down here. I'm taking this stick, I'll roll it in, and I'm gonna start on one end or the other and work to the other side. Okay, it's the next day. Everything is drying. Everything is actually dried. All that primer, okay, all the way around. Everything is white. It's starting to look really good in comparison to what it used to look like. Everything that I've done is looking good. And what I got right now is lighting, because I've scraped every inch of the trim. You can see down here, anything that's loose on that trim, I've scraped it off and I've sanded all the way down. That was the worst area. You can see right here. I've scraped everything around these windows. I've sanded up right here so that it's smooth and there's no gaps, no cracks, nothing can crawl through there. And it just looks really nice, see? Very cheap, still only about 15 bucks on this project, on this whole episode. Up here, I'm gonna end up filling all this in, but for now, I'm gonna prime it. I'm gonna prime all this and then fill in anything that does not look good after I prime on the trim. Okay, but first, I've scraped it and I've used a sponge I've wiped every single inch of this off with a sponge, with a wet sponge, all the way around to get all the dust off. And I've used my hand to scrape all the dust away from the baseboard out here so that when I put the paint on, it doesn't spray up dust all over the trim. So keep that in mind. Okay, all the way around. You can see I've got all the stuff away from the wall. Scraped anything, any mud that I got from skim coating, everything I sanded and scraped. Okay, that's number one. And then all that dust. And right here. Now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna show you how I'm gonna paint all this and save a lot of time. This is a little tool I'm gonna make a whole video on, a review video on the TrueCoat 360 DS Graco. I bought this thing right here for about 120 bucks a couple of years ago. Now I think it's about 250 bucks at Lowe's. Still cheap. It just plugs right in to an extension cord and you put the paint in here, and I will show you right now. I've got the light set up. Let's see how this thing runs, and keep in mind I will make a whole video on this. I'm gonna paint an entire shed with that at my other house. From here, all the way around, all that trim, and then I'm gonna paint around the windows. We'll see how far one of these canisters can go. But I'm gonna paint around the windows. I'm not gonna worry about the glass panel here because I'm gonna replace it. So there will be overspray on this. And over here, there will be overspray down here, but I'm not gonna spray up here because I don't wanna spend too much time cleaning. I can hand paint around this just to not get the stuff on there. And I will be spraying also in these corners. But not today. I'll actually not be doing that because that's still wet. And that's still wet. So, just the trim today. Another thing I'm gonna do that I forgot to mention, you're gonna wanna take off these covers. So this is a flathead screwdriver. Take that off, okay? And I'm gonna replace these. So this would be a good time to replace them. But for painting right now, while I'm painting, I also need to remove this so that I can get it all painted around this easily and then put a cover over it and not have to touch up anything after. So you'll see. Remove those at this point, all of them, all the way around. These ones are already removed and you can see the difference. The paint, I was able to paint up right around here, and I wasn't that close right here actually. About an inch away. But whenever I cover this with the gray paint, you'll see, and it makes it easy, and you just put the cover on right there and it looks really nice. All the way around. Take them off. Here it is right here. I've got the paint in there. Let's get going.
Okay, so you can see we started over here and we went all the way around. Okay, that's where I scraped. We went all the way around. Now this is just primer, very cheap, and I primed this whole entire room, ran out, bought another gallon. Now I'm using that to spray on this, so I'm up at about under 30 bucks for all this primer. I also sprayed right here underneath the windows and around right here. I'm gonna still remove these right now and mess with that a little bit with a brush and what left I have, little bits left in here to paint around those. And I forgot from here to there. So, but I got everything else. You can see this is looking really good. Okay, and you'll probably want to wipe this down. But remember, I'm not worried about this because this glass is broke. And this one I was really careful. And I'll work with this a little bit. I'm not too worried about that. I'll get that. I brought a wet t-shirt to wipe this stuff down a little bit if I don't forget. And right here. Okay? But I didn't tape anything. I did all this in about 5 minutes. Keep in mind, we're going to get a new window unit and new mini blinds here and here and a new glass panel here. You can see that's wet right there, but I'm not painting any gray today. Tomorrow I'll do gray in this whole entire room, and I'll spray the corners with this gun gray instead of white. So stick with me. And the carpet's still in here, so we didn't have to tape anything. Remember, tomorrow I'm not painting the trim. I'm just painting the walls and putting new covers when that gray dries on there.
It is the next day. You can see the corners are actually done now. They've dried and I've sanded them on the left and on the right. And now they're gonna blend really nice. This wall to that. This is sheetrock. This is paneling. This is pretty amazing. I do that. This is the, I do that. I've done this multiple times. So I'm gonna keep doing this again as long as it keeps working for me. There it is again right there. This was the side that I primed with the spray gun and this side with a roller. You can see there's not much difference. I'm happy with the finish with the roller and the finish with the sprayer. So you do whatever you want on that. This corner is gonna look good. This one too. I've removed all the plug covers. You can see how old those things are. You're not gonna wanna trust that for another 25 years. So whenever you remove these old things, go ahead and get you a new outlet and new switches like these two right here. This is a little pair of little hand-me-down oldies. And what you're gonna wanna do with this little set is get rid of it. And this is the worst of worst. You're gonna wanna get rid of that. And one last thing that I wanna mention is sand around all of these and make sure it's all smooth and everything is really nice so that when you paint, you can just go ahead and put your new covers and your new receptacles and switches, and boom, voila, you've completed it. Your trim is done. Your trim is done. Your wall and skim coating is done. Your painting is done. Your outlet and your cover is done, and everything is ready. I'm gonna throw new trim on this and throw new trim on back here. The ceiling, I wanna say to you, I'll zoom out. I've taken the blower, this blower right here, and I have taken it and blown all of that mold and all those loose spots, anything that was loose, all the cobwebs, all the dust on the walls, everything. I've blown it out and away and off, okay? And then I've scooped it to the edges, and now I'm gonna take all that dirt and all that dust. This is all the work that I refer to the work. Every single thing down here is something that we had to do by hand, and that's why it's here, because it's all the work that we've done, okay? Now I'm gonna scoop all of that up,
and I'm gonna put it in these big bags, these heavy duty bags from Lowe's, all right? And scoop it all into that trash can with a shovel, okay? And the last thing I'm gonna have to do is hammer in all those nails, or pull out all those nails, and then scrape the ceiling inch for inch to make sure that there's nothing sticking out, so that I can put the new ceiling, which is this ceiling right here. I'm gonna put that white ceiling up there, but first I'm gonna paint these walls gray right now. I've already sanded the corners, so let's get to painting. All my prep work is done. What I'm going to be doing now is putting the gray on the wall.
And I've taken out the mold. Everything is safe. I will bring you back after I pull all these nails out. But before that, I'm going to show you what I'm using. I have a little variety of tools right here. These cut through the metal, and then everything else I can pull and pry and scrape with all this. Okay, I'm gonna get all those out. All those wires from the old drop-down ceiling, they are gone. They are all gone, all the way around. Okay? Now I'm gonna take you in close to this wire. Remember that this wire is hot and it is connected to that switch down there. Right now we're keeping the switches and we're keeping the wire. So I'm gonna shove this wire up inside the attic for now, and I'm going to show you why. Okay. Okay, I'm just going to leave it sitting right there. And I know it's going to be safe right there overnight. Okay, it's sitting right in the entry of the hole, right here. And you can see there is plank wood. And that's actually going to be in the whole entire attic. The whole entire attic is this plank wood right here. So I'm not going to miss with my thin ceiling that I'm going to be placing up here, holding it, and then tack, 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 tack. Really pretty basic. And that wire is right there. Once I'm done, I'll put a box and everything I need for the ceiling fan to sturdy this up, because we don't want the ceiling fan to wiggle or anything. And there's no 2x4 here to put the ceiling fan on. So I'll show you how we do all this in another episode. But for now, we're gonna hang the ceiling right here, right over that. So stick with me. This is what it looks like from the ground, right here.
Wish
Well, maybe not today. This is my helper for the day. She wants to go in the store, and I just told her maybe not today, but maybe next time. In the meantime, I have a window unit right here. This is the window unit that I'm going to be using over here. And these concrete bags, if you were following along, I had a Lowe's delivery about 3 months ago or so, and these are all rock solid. But even though they're rock solid, I've taken a sledgehammer, busted the heck out of it, and spreaded it around inside my driveway and sprayed water on it. And this makes a very nice driveway. Okay, and instead of wasting all that concrete, I would have had to do something with it anyway. So I took it from here, busted it up, and put it in there. Anyway, here's the unit, 450 square foot unit, AC. And this room in here is about 200 or so square foot. There's the old unit. I'm gonna be removing that one out. This paint is all drying, and I've hung up the ceiling. I did have a buddy help me. I just had a friend come out and help me hold one end while I was tacking all this up. And you can see I've cut in the edges with the paintbrush around all the trim and in the corners. Like I said, except for the bottom baseboard all the way around, because I'm gonna be pulling this carpet and doing touch-ups right before the end of this. Here's the window unit that I'm gonna be removing. I'm basically just gonna break everything. I'm gonna break all this wood around here, pull this window unit out, slide the new one in over there. It hooks up into a 110 volt. I'm gonna plug it in right here. It's not rated for a 220 wire. This wire will be just fine. We'll do the swap, and this thing will be more than it needs for the size of the room that is. Also, if you've been following along, you know, once I open up this doorway right here, which is blocked off, there's actually someone living in over there, and they will be gaining all of this extra space for $100 more a month. And that's what I'm doing. So they're over here, and I'm over here, and then I'll be out of here. Because remember, I had to do the eviction. That's when I moved from this property to the other property. Long story short, I'm not here anymore. I'm at the new property, which is on standby. I'll be renovating that one next on video for you. And I am back and forth currently working on this one. I will see you on the next project here.